I need to feel your energy today from start to finish.
Come on, let's go.
Let's crank this thing up. It get real ferocious, I'm trying to tell you.
Turn me up all day.
From the locker room to the broadcast booth, breaking news and the truth behind every take from a real NFL insider and television analyst.
Now get ready for the NFL show where the conversation gets real and the fans get a voice. It's time for the Lake Lewis Jr. Show here on ESPN Radio.
And that's football.
Welcome, everyone, to the Lake Lewis Jr. Show. Appreciate you joining us as always. And it's another busy, hectic show. We've got a lot of information that we're going to dissect over the next hour. I also have coming in a little bit later on, I have my personal trainer from Crunch Gym in nearby, downtown Richmond, so he's going to be coming in, Cliff Fortune, and you're going to see how big this guy is. And also, when we bring on the super producer, Alan Sander, just want to let you know that Cliff is now coaching over at Virginia Union. So, congrats on that. And I got that workout in today, Alan. Let me tell you, man, it's real, man. I had I think I did I had like 345s on each side as far as my leg presses. So it's getting there. So let's bring Alan in now before we give you guys some more information on today's show.
About to be an edge rusher?
Nah, man. I just hope that I'll be able to sit down later without sheer pain in these legs right now. But I got to give a shout out to my baby too. Janine Samuels from CBS 6. She was in there with me, man. She was putting in the work. So, we're getting it in, man. I'm trying to look right, for when I show up next week for training camp. I'm trying to look like you, Alan.
Nah, you don't look like me. I don't want to look like the guys at training camp either. I enjoy the sidelines. I'm not complaining about that at all. Some people get into these positions and stuff, and they're like, man, I remember when I used to do this, and this. And, you heard it on the Sports Center top of the hour update. Looking at Tyreek Hill, man, listening to him talking stuff like that, man. I remember my knee injury. Thank God it wasn't as bad as his. Yeah,
right.
But I don't want to go through that. And he's going through that at 32. I think I was around close to 35 when I had my injury. But yeah, I'm good on that, man. I enjoy the sideline view.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's. When I lost all the weight, it's crazy because you start seeing like your skin, not so much hang. I wasn't fat like that, but it wasn't tight. And obviously getting back in the gym and, lifting heavy now, it's, I hate it. I complain all the time. Janine will tell you the same thing. When Cliff sits in here a little bit later on, he's going to tell you the same thing, but I still do it. I don't have a choice really. So folks, if you want to chime in on today's show, all you got to do is give us a call at 804-327-0888. Once again, 804-327-0888. You can actually email that number as well if you don't want to be heard, but you want to be heard. You know what I mean? So a couple things that we're going to break down today. Washington Commanders training camp is coming up. NFL training camp, 2 teams have already entered the building as far as training camp. And this is around the time of year, Alan, where we normally would be going to training camp, like on the 23rd, 24th. And this year it starts on the 29th. That's later than it's normally been.
Yeah, I'm happy for that. I am not mentally prepared just yet. I'm getting there.
I need this weekend, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. I need this weekend, and I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Maybe after Thursday of next week, I'll be in full like NFL mode. I have a whole routine I do, like I used to call it a fan cast, but I go through all 32 teams and do a write up and talk about their projected win totals and things like that. So I can tell when I'm getting ready for football, when I start caring about the nonsense that comes out in the news in the college area, because college, is in front of NFL. So we get our media days. Yep. That gets my juices flowing. So by training camp, I'm ready. In 2 weeks, my whole tone will change, and I'll be like, are we popping pass or what? What are we doing? We're wasting time. Let's hit. So
I wanted to ask you and Jack, actually, if did you guys get any kind of dirty looks from James Franklin from last year?
No.
I mean, last week.
No, James loves us. Coach Franklin loves us.
He loves you guys.
Yeah, he has no problem with us.
I just wanted to make sure he didn't know. Hey, that Lake Lewis dude.
Nah, man. I mean, we all have a job to do. We're allowed to be opinionated. We're also allowed to be fans, right? Like you're a fan and you're an alum. Yeah,
right.
that's even.
I called for his head.
That's like me when I talk about VCU basketball. Like I'm invested as a former athlete and a student at that university. Yeah. Like I take that
still
very
paying
seriously.
the money.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Yeah,
exactly.
Right.
So
I
you
take have a right to have an opinion.
Yeah. So obviously we try to maintain a level of professionalism, but I don't think you said anything that he hadn't heard. He knows, and give him his time at Virginia Tech. If he don't get right there, he'll hear the same stuff. Then you guys
are going to be saying the same thing.
Absolutely.
And I'm predicting that's what's going to happen ultimately. So anyway,
I don't think.
Let me not do that to him. No, you guys, Virginia Tech is going to win their fair share of games. I'd be shocked if they win anything less than 9 games this year. However, when it's crunch time, we will see. Has he learned anything?
Crunch time in the ACC don't look nothing like the Big Ten or the SEC.
Ooh, you
crunch
just
time.
you just gave the Conference of Champions.
I mean,
love.
I'm not going to be that delusional, man. There are levels to this. It's similar to football, right?
In the
there
Big
are levels.
Ten, we are a different level.
When you see a good team play a great team, there's levels, right? Like you look at the NFC West. You look at the Niners, you look at the Rams, then you look at the Seahawks last year.
Yeah.
Those are your levels right there.
And then you have the Cardinals.
Yeah. The Niners were a good team. The Rams were pretty darn good, but the Seahawks were clearly a level above all the rest. And you can see that. And so
that's what's up.
It'd be the same way in college football.
Love. You gave them some love too.
Oh no.
You're having a good day today. You're very rosy today.
I am not unbiased, man. I mean, if you're good, you're good. I'm not gonna take that from you. I can't take that from you. Especially
they won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, especially when you beat everybody that somebody would have said, well, you didn't play this team. Well, they beat them by 30.
Yeah.
You didn't play this team. They beat them by 20.
Yeah.
Right. So
and they beat the Rams 2 times last year.
Man, they beat the Rams. So they beat us so bad. I don't even think we came out after halftime. You got it.
And they got Washington bad.
Yeah. I was at that game. Yeah.
Bad. So. Folks, speaking of the Commanders, training camp surprises. Are there going to be any surprises for this year's training camp? And clearly, there are always surprises every year. I asked that question because I think there are going to be a couple of young guys that are going to really push to possibly make this 53-man roster that normally when you talk about undrafted free agents, normally they don't make the roster. However, I think Washington has a couple of guys this year that are going to really turn some heads, and it's going to start as of next week in training camp, and hopefully it carries into preseason so it can make this roster final cut down interesting. And who am I talking about, so to speak? Well, I think the kid Henry, the undrafted free agent running back from University of San Antonio. I'm telling you, I think that this kid
UTSA.
Yeah. I think Robert Henry has a legit chance to make the roster. I truly feel like that. When Washington drafted Katron Allen, from where Allen, when they drafted him, in the 5th round, it literally made me think to myself, you know what? They may try to go a different direction with some of the pieces in their running back room. They went out, they brought in Rachaad White, from Tampa as a free agent running back. Bill Krosky-Merritt's entering year 2. So that's your 2-headed monster, so to speak. But when they drafted Katron, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe they're seeing some other things that they want to address. And then they bring in this kid Henry, who was the JUCO player of the year just a couple years ago. And then last year, I mean, the guy put in some work. And I remember at the combine, people were saying that there's some running backs that have gone under the radar that could be really good NFL running backs. So right now, I'll say this to you, Alan. If you look at Washington's running back room, obviously I just mentioned, Bill, Krosky-Merritt or Jacory, if some of you still want to call him that. And then you have Rachaad White, we mentioned. But then you have Jeremy McNichols, who I can tell anyone who's listening right now or watching, he is a locker room leader. They love what he brings to the locker room, and he's a hard-nosed player. but he's not a guy that you're going to get a whole lot from a lot. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
You may get it in a couple spurts here or there. He had some really tough runs last year, but nothing where you're going to keep feeding him the rock. And then you have a guy by the name of Jerome Ford, who you know quite well, obviously came over from Cleveland, and he's a professional running back. Make no mistake about it. He's a professional, viable running back. But those two guys, to me, could be supplanted. If Washington only keeps 4 backs, which normally teams do, I'm pretty much penciling Katron in right now. He's the 3rd back. So you're going to have 3 guys pretty much fighting it out for the final back spot, and that's Jeremy, that's Jerome Ford, and that's Robert Henry Jr. Alan, you and I both know when you can go younger and cheaper and the guy might have more burst than those other 2 guys, would you say that this guy has a fair shot if he performs well? Because think about it. If he performs really well, it's going to be hard to stash a guy like that on the practice squad.
Yeah, so with Robert Henry, I would have to see him in game action. I don't think he tests all that well,
right?
Especially from UTSA, man. Like I hear UTSA, I think we're getting out, we're running. Everybody out there is athletic and fast, and he didn't impress with his 40. Didn't impress too much with his vertical, broad jump, or shuttle, things like that. Like it didn't stand off the charts, athletic. But the only knock I have with him is like his vision just seems to be lacking sometimes. And I only bring this up because it's interesting. You brought up Robert Henry Jr. and the first thing I thought was like, I don't like his vision, because we've been having a debate amongst my friends about how important is vision with running backs.
Oh, it's supreme.
Yeah. And so I pointed out that Emmitt Smith, I thought, didn't have the athleticism that most people would expect from a running back. Like you look at Emmitt versus Barry. Barry's 20 million times more athletic. I was like, but Emmitt with his vision was so good that you couldn't.
And he also had a line.
Yeah, he had the line, but he had the ability to see those holes too, right?
He did.
Like it's not. I think
I'm not going to take that from him.
And in a long-winded way, what I'm saying is, it's one of those intangibles that I think a lot of people don't pay attention to. And for Robert Henry, when you look at the tape, he missed a lot of holes. People complained about that with Bijan Robinson coming out of Texas, but Bijan's so supremely athletic that he can overcompensate for that, right? He can miss a hole and bounce and still get you 10 yards. Henry doesn't have that kind of athleticism.
But you know what Henry does have? He has a knack for the end zone.
Yeah.
Past 2 seasons,
he
scored 30 touchdowns. So, I mean.
So are you going to slot him? Are you thinking slotting him in as maybe a 3rd down back? Because he doesn't have the stereotypical, prototypical build for a 3rd down back.
He doesn't. He's a bigger guy.
Yeah.
But so is Rachaad White. So maybe you could get, your 2 backs as far as just, in between the tackles. And ironically, your guy, Bill, is an in between the tackles runner. Like he's a tough runner.
No, he is.
People keep thinking because he's got this great speed that he can pop one and knock, take one to the house, but he will put his chin strap and his helmet up under you for sure.
I had Katron as being like one of the surprises. I think he's going to get more spin than people think.
Oh no, Katron's a lock. I mean, and some of my colleagues were saying, "Oh, it's going to be tough for him to make the roster."
Yeah, I saw that
really
amongst some folks too. I didn't look at it like that when
really?
they drafted him. I thought for sure, if you look at that room, he's going to slot in as your bruiser, regardless.
Your short yardage back for sure. Absolutely,
and you're going to need that, especially if you're talking about we're going to be more run oriented. You're going to need that guy, kind of guy,
and you're going to need it from a guy that did what, played that type of ball. At my school, where's my school again?
Yeah.
So yeah.
He takes carries away from Jaden, in my opinion. So
good.
When you get in these short yardage situations, you don't have to necessarily think of we need a QB run or a design QB run. When we can just line up, hat on hat, and this guy can get me my 2 to 3 yards that I need.
Right. And the thing is that we're just talking here, folks. Obviously, it's sports talk radio, but we're just talking about guys that I feel like have an opportunity if they perform well, because you and I both know if you get drafted late, it's tough, to win people over. If you're an undrafted guy, it's really tough because that means you have to outperform the veterans who've already made a name for themselves as pro players. So Robert Henry Jr. is going to have an exceptional training camp preseason in order to knock one of these other veterans off, because let's face it, a first-time coordinator in David Blau, you want to make sure that you've got veterans that can help you along the way. You don't want to put all your eggs in the baskets of rookies, especially not undrafted guys. But I really feel like this kid has an opportunity, and we're going to see, exactly how that plays out. The other guys that I think could be in play, I just need you to remember some of these names because they may jump off at you real soon. I think Fred Davis II out of Northwestern, the cornerback. I mean, he's got size. He was jumping routes in OTAs and mini camp. I mean, the kid showed some potential. And what's an area on this roster where if you have someone that excels, you want to keep him on?
Yeah, he's a big guy too for a corner.
That's what
6'1", 200 pounds. I feel like he also like interviewed well or did said or did something like his
went to Northwestern.
Yeah, no, but it was like something he said as far as like his approach and mentality to the game. I recall
what he said was, "I'm making the roster."
Yeah, something
that's what he told me. He said, "I'm making the roster." So
I was gonna say there was something pre-draft that I was like, I kind of like this guy, man. Like I like his attitude.
He's got some confidence, right?
Yeah, and you got to have that
at corner.
Yeah,
I mean, if you don't have that, something's
in today's
wrong.
game for sure, because you're gonna get beat every now and then for sure. You just got to brush it off. But his aggression, I think during OTAs and things like that was very. Like it's something.
It was a welcome sign, right?
Yeah, it's something that you want to see more of in game situations, and that's probably the one thing I think I'm gonna make people groan when I say this. But a lot of these guys for the Commanders, I want to see them in preseason, which I know we don't put a lot of stock in the preseason, but I need to see game reps so I can see game speed from a lot of these guys where we have questions on can they do this, right? Like we're talking about the wide receivers, we're looking for a wide receiver too. Can we get something out of this guy? The only way we're going to see that is if we get these live simulated situations, not just a scrimmage, but like pressurized game like moments to see if they can really handle that. So Fred Davis is one of those guys, from the defensive side. I need to see him get some game reps. I want to see it.
Well, there's two other guys that I really feel, well, there's more than two, but I'm talking about two that could be making, waves, could turn some heads. And it's two wide receivers that were undrafted. Chris Hilton Jr. from LSU. That's right. From Jaden School. And they have a history together at LSU. And then you have Jaden Bradley, who really impressed me, the wide receiver from UNLV. He really impressed me. I was even talking to my good friend, Bobby Ingram, who's the wide receivers coach for the team. And Bobby went to school with me back in the day. So we're boys from back, in the 90s at where, Alan? So, yeah, you're
getting carried away with this.
Yeah. So, no, he said that he was really impressed with him. Bobby said he's really impressed. And Jaden had a couple really nice plays in one of the practices. And Bobby told him afterwards, he told him, build off of that. Remember what you did. They gave you that success and build off that. Don't feel like you've arrived yet, but build off of that. So they see some good qualities with this kid. I think both these kids are locks to be on the practice squad, but can one of them perhaps push his way into a wide receiver room that some still have some question marks about? It's going to be tough, but I think they do have NFL talent, so it'll be interesting. The other guy that's an undrafted guy that I think is making the roster is the kicker, Drew Stevens from Iowa. I think it's his job to lose, if you were to ask me. So normally undrafted guys, you might get one or two sprinkles here or there that could challenge and make the roster. But Washington could have upwards of 3 to 4. That would be a lot.
Yeah, no, it would be a lot.
Is that a bad look? If you have 3 guys, maybe 3 undrafted free agents to make the roster, is that a bad look of your roster that shouldn't have been bumped off by an undrafted guy?
Well, it's one of those things where you kind of have to wait and see, because if they work out, then it means you have great talent evaluation.
Well, see, thank you for saying that, because some people are going to say, "Oh, that means Adam Peter has a terrible roster and it's not good."
Let's be honest. There's some guys that are on this roster right now that could be bumped off for more promising prospects, people with higher ceilings.
We're going to talk about. That's literally, see, this is why this guy's doing what he does, because when we come back, that's where I want to go. I want to talk about some bubble guys, and it might be some guys that I might name. We got to show our face up there, Alan. You know, I mean, you have to be side by side with me when I say some of these names, because they might be like, hey, man, you called me out. Talk to Alan for me.
Hey, come on by. I'll talk to you. I'll stand on exactly what I said.
Talk
if I said
to
it,
Alan.
I ain't gonna run from it.
Listen, there's some guys. We're going to drop some names when we come back here. You're listening to the Lake Lewis Jr. Show right here on ESPN Radio. Welcome back, everyone, right here. ESPN Radio. You're listening to the Lake Lewis Jr. Show. Appreciate you guys for taking some time out of your day. If you're in your cars right now, make sure you drive safely. Keep those hands on the wheel. And also, if you're watching, we appreciate that. Get your popcorn. So, you see, I had to change, right? It's cold, man. Like, every time I come in, I'm like, you know what? I got to just go ahead and do what Alan does and just wear the hoodies year round, because it definitely was a little chilly up in here. So.
Yeah, I got my cold my warm beverage, so I'm not necessarily cold right now. But yeah, once that tea wears off, it's definitely chilly.
Yeah, I started feeling it just now. I was like, you know what? We gotta go to break, man. Let me put this hoodie on. So what I wanted to go over now was talk about some of these players that could be, could they be on the bubble? The proverbial, I can't even say that now. I can't even speak. Bubble, because again, maybe the talent level has risen around them, and it's going to make guys who may have been in years past on a team, the Commanders, even former Redskins teams, Dan Snyder era, it was a lot of guys that was top heavy, but then there wasn't a lot of depth. Well, I feel like this year, in year 3 of the Dan Quinn, Adam Peters, Josh Harris experiment, I think that this is the year where you're going to see that quality depth for this football team. So when they have an injury or two, which every team does, it won't be so catastrophic that the season is over before it starts. Okay.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair assessment. And for the Commander fans and the folks who are questioning, the depth and things like that, that's something that every team in the league has. Like, even the Seahawks, who are defending champions, will come into this season questioning the amount of depth that they have. And you have to do that because, as we all know, as the Commanders know all too well from last year, you're never going to be 100% healthy. You're going to need guys to step up. You're going to need guys to fill in. And that 17-game season is probably feeling like 30 games at times. So you need some depth to handle the grind.
Well, it's crazy. We just talked about 2 running backs that could, be bubble players, Jeremy McNichols, Jerome Ford. I mean, I don't think that's a reach to say that. I think that those guys could be guys that have to continue and show they're professionals and do some things well in this training camp, or maybe they just go with the young guys, and just say, hey, we're going to go a different direction. So those are 2 that we already talked about. We don't really need to go into that. But the next 2 guys that I want to throw out there, these are my personal opinions, that I think that there are some guys that have to show something because there's numbers everywhere. I'm going to go on defense here. Okay. I'm going to throw out 3 guys on defense. All right. I think Percy Butler could be a guy, that Percy is a special teams demon, and that's my guy too. That's one of my pups, man, but listen, you went out and you got Nick Cross, you got Will Harris coming back from injury. You have a guy like Tyler Owens who they love his size. They just hope, maybe Tyler Owens a bubble guy too, but Percy to me is a guy that I think makes the team because he gives you a lot as far as the special teams aspect. But would you be surprised if he's a guy that's on the bubble?
I would be surprised just because like that special teams component is more important than I think people realize.
But you got Jeremy Reeves, who by the way is the same position.
You got Jeremy Reeves,
and then you have Nick
position.
Ballure. You have both the Pro Bowl,
yeah.
Guys.
But I think again, you go back to the conversation about youth and ceiling. You're probably going to get a little bit more out of Percy, a little bit longer. But safety is definitely crowded. it's definitely crowded. And
so could you say maybe Percy or Tyler Owens, one or the other?
Yeah, Percy or Tyler Owens, I
That's
think
fair.
is fair.
That's fair.
And I think for Tyler Owens, he needs to continue to show that concept that he could also come down closer to the line of scrimmage and be an asset in that area as well, because I think that was one of the things they talked about pre-draft, and one of the reasons why everybody's somewhat excited about his athletic potential and his size.
What he can do. Yeah, that's fair. Another guy on defense that I think is going to have to show something, because it's not because he's not talented. When he's on the field, he shows some things, but he's had a history of injury so far. And I'm talking about Javonte Jean-Baptiste, or Jean-Baptiste from Notre Dame. You remember this guy, nice size, nice motor, but then they go out and they draft a guy too, so from Tennessee. So again, this makes Javonte have to show something here, or he could be a guy on the bubble.
Yeah, I think Javonte could definitely be a guy on the bubble based on his injury history, and the fact that he doesn't have a strong foundation of production because of that.
Yeah.
And we're talking about that linebacking core, man. Based on how we assume they're going to slot guys in as edge rushers and things like that.
He's not no linebacker.
Yeah, he's not a linebacker. But they have him listed in their chart as an
outside linebacker.
Yeah,
That's just because he's an edge rusher.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
But he's going to be one of the odd men out, and especially if he can't stay healthy, because for him, he's going to have to continuously show that he's an asset, and part of that asset is that he's available, because that has not been a thing for him in the past.
I agree. And he's a good football player. I like him quite a bit. Just has to stay healthy to show what he can do and put it all together. Hopefully he can put it together this year. All right. So another guy that I'm going to throw out there. People are going to think I'm nuts when I say this, because I love the kid. He's a great guy. But you just haven't seen it all come together yet. Could it be year 4 it comes together for this guy? And I'm talking about Jordan McGee.
I was going to say Jordan McGee's probably on the bench.
He's got to be, right?
Yeah. I
mean, he's uber athletic. He can hit you. Like, when you look at Jordan McGee, you see a prototypical linebacker. Like, you see a guy that's like, yeah, we're getting ready to run with this dude right here. But for whatever reason, sometimes I was told it's the playbook. That it was a tough time getting into the playbook, learning it. But no one was learning Joe Wood's playbook because it wasn't working. Okay.
I think McGee's issue is him and Frankie Louvu are of the same cloth,
of the same ilk.
Yeah, and because of that, it's just not enough room for him sometimes, because it's like we already got somebody that does that. So what can you do?
And they were trying to see if he could do Mike.
Yeah.
Could he be Bobby Wagner's heir apparent? This was when Bobby Wagner was here. No, Jordan is so athletic and fast and physical. I'm telling you, when you look at him and you see him in person, fans, I'm telling you out there, he's what you want, but you just need it to all come together on the field, and it just hasn't. And I think a guy like Kane Madrano, who's just as athletic, maybe Kane, if Kane shows you a lot, in year 2 for him, if he shows you a lot, or maybe now, it was a year 3. Is it year 3 for Kane already?
I think it's year 3.
Yeah, it's year 3 for Kane. If he can put it together, I think he can move Jordan out of there. I truly believe that. Will he do that? That remains to be seen. That's what these battles are for. And for you, the fan out there, saying, come on, Lake, man, now you're reaching. No, I'm not. And I'm saying that with all due respect to your thought process being those names are familiar names. Well, just like Alan and me been saying here, the good football teams have to make these kind of tough decisions because they have depth.
Kane's year 2, and yeah, and I think if you look in between the two of them, I feel like Kane's just a little bit more under control. Like, they're both athletic, and McGee's super athletic, but I think Kane read and reacts and processes a little bit better. Yeah, more of what you're looking for from a traditional linebacker. And he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. I feel like McGee makes a lot of mistakes from time to time.
He does.
But he's immensely athletic and he's able to overcompensate for it a little bit. But you're in a defense this year, though. I think
I was just getting ready to say that.
Overly aggressive guys.
That's what he wants.
Yeah,
that's what Durante wants.
He wants it. But if you're overly aggressive and you're missing tackles or overrunning plays, it's going to lead to a lot of mistakes, a lot of like exposure in the sense of there's not going to be a lot of people back to help you, right? Like there's not going to be a lot of safeties back. This isn't a conservative, keep everything in front of you type defense that we're expecting from them this year. So you got to be a heat-seeking missile that actually hits the target. You can't be too far left or too far right.
And you know what's crazy is that all these guys we're talking about that could be bubble guys, Jordan, Tyler Owens, Percy, these are all what? They're all thumpers.
Yeah.
They're all guys that will come up and put a hat on you. And I've said this over and over, and I'm going to continue to say it. If you are on the bubble, this is the year to be on the bubble. And I say that because you have a new coordinator on the offensive side of the ball. You have a new coordinator on the defensive side of the ball. So you're making the same impression a 10-year veteran would be making. The 10-year veteran obviously would have an impression or automatically from name recognition, from film. However, you have a chance to win over a coach who's new, who's looking for his own guys, So maybe if you're one of these young guys, this is an opportunity for you to stand out, not just on tape, but on that field.
Yeah, and it's a good opportunity for you to burn the tape from last year because I highly doubt he's going to take into consideration that the Jordan McGee that's stepping on the field for him is who he saw in Joe Witt's defense, right? Like he's going to give him an opportunity to show that he can do more. I think safety and linebacker are the two positions on this team that probably you'll see some people just be casualties of there's just not enough room on the roster for you.
Absolutely. And then there's two guys on the offensive side of the ball that we haven't spoken about. And people are going to be surprised that I'm going to say this because I do think both of them are going to make the roster. But if one of them didn't, I wouldn't be like, swerving in my car because I couldn't believe the news. But I'm going to say Treylon Burks and Van Jefferson. I think both those guys are making the roster. That's my opinion. But I do think that they have to continue to prove what I was seeing in OTAs and minicamp. They have to. Let's face it, this is a wide receiver room that's going to need some help. Terry needs some help. Antonio Williams is locked in there. We know that. Jalen Lane is locked in there for sure because he's your special teams guy too. Is Luke locked in there? I kind of think he is, so that's 4. Is De'Ami Brown locked in there? I don't think they brought him in here not to make the roster, brought him back. So that's 5. So people are saying, they're keeping 6 receivers. I personally think they're going to keep 7 receivers. And I think that that's where 6 and 7 are Treylon Burks and Van Jefferson. But if they decide to keep just 6, one of these guys might be in trouble, Alan.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm looking over at Treylon Burks because I swear he didn't look 225, but they got it listed at 225.
No, he's big, man.
Yeah,
he's yoked up.
Yeah, maybe I just wasn't close enough. But I think for that particular duo and that particular battle, whoever makes the roster for the Commanders on the wide receiver spot, I'll keep going back to it and saying it. You got to show you're a playmaker. And you can't just show we're not talking like, he can catch the ball between 3 people. We're talking about
or you're super fast like Van.
Yeah.
You gotta
when
do
you
more.
get the ball,
right?
What can you do
right.
after that? Because modernized football in the NFL, all these guys are yak guys.
Yes.
They spin. Once they get the ball, they spin. You can't tell the difference between them and a running back sometimes when they get the ball.
Right.
And that's one of the things that I think the Commanders are sorely missing is a guy with that ability to get more after the catch.
Antonio Williams.
Yeah, so
that's where it's going.
So whoever shows they have that ability down the line of the depth chart will 1,000% be guaranteed a roster spot, I think, especially in Blau's offense and what he's looking to do.
Good stuff. Well, look, folks, that was a good segment. That was a good, clean segment. We got to take a break. And when we come back, I'm going to have in my personal trainer is going to be joining us here in studio, Cliff Fortune from Crunch Gym and local nearby Scott's Addition. If you don't know where that is in Richmond, you got to check it out. It's lots of good stuff happening over there. And I live over there too. So Janine and me. So anyway, got to take a break. And when we come back, we'll have more right here on the Lake Lewis Jr. Show. The show right here on ESPN Radio. And as promised, I told you I was going to bring in someone that, I'm fond of, man. This guy's, pushing me. He's pushing my baby, Janine, every time we come to Crunch Gym. And I'm talking about my good friend, Cliff Fortune, one of the main trainers over there. You can look at this guy and tell, because he's about, how much you weigh, Cliff?
I'm about 275, 280. I kind of fluctuate in between over there.
So that goes to show you muscle is real, because if I looked at this guy, I would say he's probably about 320.
You're working hard. You and Janine both, y'all are two of the hardest workers that I train with and I work with, and it makes it fun to train with y'all because y'all work so hard and y'all like to push. We started off with 225, and I was like, look, that moved a little too easy, so I think we need to throw another plate on there and move it, and you moved it. I think you could have did 4 plates, but
4. I think next week we'll try that. We'll try that. I did see that one gentleman, man. He had 5 to 6 45s on each side, and he wasn't a big dude at all, and he was old. So I'm like, I got to come in there.
Why you saying like that, man?
Because you see, Janine, anything I do, she tries to do that, right?
I like that that husband wife competition right there. Like, y'all push each other and make each other better. So.
Man, you don't have no choice, man.
So look.
So how long
trained my
son. How long have you been doing this, man? Because obviously it looks like you've been doing this your whole life if you see this guy. But how long have you been doing this?
Well, from college football and everything like that growing up, I knew I was gonna play ball. I was always a big kid, so my dad started training me when I was around 9. And then when I got into college, I was too small to play my position on the line, so I had to stay in the weight room. And it was there where I developed a love for training. And so when college football was done, I got into powerlifting, and I trained with some of the best in the world. And then from there, just learning the concepts of training and everything. And over the years, just doing all the strength sports and now getting into bodybuilding. So I've been doing this for a long, long time.
One of the things that I've learned since being here in Richmond is that everybody knows each other somehow, some way. So when Cliff came in today, I was like, here, let me introduce you to my producer. And as soon as the door opens with Alan's like, hey, man, I know you. You coach my son. And I'm like, look at here, another thing. So Alan, you knew immediately when you saw him, huh?
Yeah, no, I'd never forget the face. Plus, I also did powerlifting and stuff, and he was one of the few people that was always preaching technique, and that always catches my eye. So when I see that, I actually told my son, like, yeah, you need to listen to coach. Like I push my son towards people like that because as I was explaining to him the other day in the gym, doesn't matter how strong you are, if you're not doing it correctly, that has a very short limitation, right? Like you can only be so strong doing bad technique for so long. So.
Exactly.
And that's the thing that I will say, and Janine's getting a lot of love here on the show today. You remember that, baby, because I know you're listening. But that's the one thing that we both enjoy working with Cliff for, because he explains everything that we're doing. So I'm not just up in there, like I joke all the time, Alan, about being a transformer in there because everything's breaking down like I'm breaking up. But literally, he explains why you do this, why you want this many reps, pushing us, going up in weights each time. So I greatly appreciate that. I probably won't like you tomorrow when I can't walk around my house. But no, man, seriously, like you clearly know what you're doing.
Thank you.
And he's a good dude. He's a gentleman. So it's easy because, one thing I don't like with Cliff, I don't like being yelled at. So I never liked the, the trainers back in the day in school. I was like, do it, you can do it. Like, look, man, you better leave me alone.
Right.
He's more encouraging, and I respond better to that. So, Alan, we need you in there with us, man.
I respond to getting yelled at. That's how I came up.
Look, whatever your style is.
You can change up on him?
Yeah. However you learn, we can do it. We can do it.
I can't wait for him to jump for you. So, it's that time of season, Cliff. Obviously training camp is next week. We were going over my schedule in the gym, when I can come, when I can't come. But it's that time of year, and you're going to be coaching also, helping the D-line coach over at Virginia Union. And for a lot of people out there that don't know, Virginia Union is a dynasty in this area.
Yeah.
But let's talk about training camp and getting back to this type of year as far as the NFL type stuff.
Yeah.
Did you look forward to training camp? when you were playing?
When I was in college, no, because I knew.
Thank you. Because I just wanted the truth. That's all.
Yeah, because I knew, coming off the summer and everything like that, you got to get back in. You got to get in season mode. And so, coming in, it's hot. You know what I'm saying? You're not used to training in the heat and things like that. So I don't think a lot of guys get used to looking forward to training camp, but also there is the hype of we getting ready to start another season. So that's what kind of carries you through.
Yeah.
Because a lot of guys don't love practice. I'm just going to be honest with you. I know I didn't love practice, but you got to be able to love those moments.
I think Allen was the only person that actually looked forward to going out there in the heat and performing.
Yeah. Not me. Wouldn't me.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I actually did. I was a strange one.
I hated it. I still hate it. I hate having to be up in Ashburn, standing out there on the side of that field, cooking and baking in that sun.
I love watching film. I loved every single minute of it, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's exciting though to get. It's exciting to see teams come alive and be formed and all that good stuff. Don't get me wrong, folks. I wouldn't trade my job for anything. I love what I do. But with that said, these are the dog days of summer, and Virginia heat is a little different. You played your college ball at Norfolk State. I mean, at least I had a little breeze over there off the water.
Yeah, a little bit off the water, but it was still hot. It got humid. It was hot.
So what do you think of right now at Norfolk State? Mike Vick's there. Is he? I mean, you're an alum. Are you anticipating him turning that thing around?
Oh, absolutely. I know everybody talked about last year and stuff like that, but he was just coming in, so he's got to rebuild that program to how he wants it instead of coming into taking over what it was. But I think Vic, he's a legend. He's one of the greatest ever. So especially that being his hometown area, he's going to really make a lot of noise with the team this year, and then he stays there. He's going to rebuild it. They're going to be good. They're going to be nice.
So this is the thing that Allen is probably going to be really curious that I'm going to say this because, I'm a Penn State guy, and we were talking a little bit earlier about James Franklin and how I was one of the alum that was like, he's got to go. Well, now he's at VTech, and James Franklin is a hell of a recruiter. Let's call it like it is. Good dude, too, by the way. I know I give him a lot of slack, but he's a great guy. And I think he's going to do great for Virginia Tech. I think they're a perfect union with each other. No pun intended there. But with that said, does he and the other coaches, the new coach over at James Madison, do they need to worry about Mike Vick recruiting, that area code that everybody knows about, get those kids to go to Norfolk State?
Yeah, I think the 757 is going to be tough because a lot of those kids grew up on Vic, so they're going to have a loyalty to Vic because he's home. You get to learn from, again, a legend, one of the greatest. I mean, he's a cultural phenomenon, especially for us kids coming from Virginia. So I think it's going to play a big role in recruitment with him being able to mix up a lot of these kids getting over there.
So when I first got here, Cliff, everyone was telling me about, that's the area you got to know. Yeah. And I mean, I knew about the talent that came from there, but I didn't know the abundance of it. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, 804 is not anything to sleep on as well. There's some great kids here in Richmond for sure.
And Northern Virginia.
Northern Virginia. But see, I've also been kind of forewarned that, Northern Virginia isn't Virginia. That's what people tell me a lot down here. Like, that's not. As Allen, do you hold that sentiment at all?
Only when I want to make them mad.
Yeah, that's where you get into the DMV arguments and the split.
I mean, we basketball up there, man. That's what we run things in basketball up there. And I know Allen will try to find some guys down here. That's a little different.
The hoop culture up in Northern Virginia is definitely I think the tops in the state for the most part, especially historically speaking. They got some guys.
Yeah.
Come on, man. I mean, I tell people all the time, they say, the Mecca of basketball is New York. Yeah, I don't know about all that. That's a bias, personal bias. But let's get back into training camp. Where was there a time when, you get back to camp and you got to prove yourself all over again. Was there a time in camp that, as a veteran, as a guy that maybe you're in your third year, your fourth year, that you told yourself you're going to pace yourself, or is it just you really can't run from it? Everyone's looking.
Yeah, you really can't run from it. I mean, because you have that experience, you do have the ability to pace yourself a little bit because, when I came as a freshman, you try to go all out. A lot of guys do to try to prove themselves, and that's when you realize you don't got the capacity that you think you do to keep up with guys that have been there because they have that experience. So by the time you get, your feet on the ground and everything like that and that experience, that's when you kind of pull back and when you need to fully turn it on and when you need to pull back to keep yourself good for the season because guys get injured early in camp trying to go all out the gate.
Absolutely. All right, so listen, Alan, it's time to have some fun with him, because we're already having fun.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna throw some things out at you, and you tell me yay or nay. And this is in reference to you in your game as a defensive lineman. Set the edge.
Yay.
Okay. All right. Pass rusher.
Nay.
Okay. All right. So Alan, he was a run stuffer. That's what he was. You set the edge for sure. All right. So burst.
Yay.
Okay. All right. Power. Yeah. I can answer for that. That's a given. Any superlatives you want to throw out there at him? And anything?
Nah, I could tell by his physique he has burst. He's probably got good bend too.
Yeah.
Now, see,
I don't know so much anymore as I got.
Yeah, because when he got older. Yeah.
Them knees and hips don't work the same.
You remember our guy is it Wilson is his last name. He went to Texas Tech, I believe. Big guy, Tyree Wilson or something like
Wilson.
He got drafted by the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
He was a bigger edge rusher, but he was supposed to be a run stopper. He looks a little bit like him to me.
Really?
So, yeah.
I'm telling you,
he's just really tall.
Cliff
that guy's really tall.
He said he's 285. He doesn't look 285.
No, but that's how the NFL guys look.
Most people think
it don't look 285.
But that's the thing. They not listed at 285. They're always listed at 300.
Let Cliff put a hand in your chest. I bet you'll feel 285.
Trust me, man. He was helping me push some of them weights up, and I'm like, hey, man, let me try one more by myself. No, I need your help. Push that up.
When those guys exert that force, man, they take the power from their legs and through the body, man. You know.
Yeah, it's the biggest thing about teaching guys now, the young guys, that it's a finesse sport now. You see, because guys want to be, quick off the ball and do all these moves. But I tell guys, like, you got violent hands, shoot your hips. Yeah. Nobody's going to want to block you coming off the edge. You punch somebody.
Nobody wants you in their chest.
At all.
Did you have a favorite player growing up? Like, was there somebody, a defensive lineman that, that you would look at and say, you know what, that's my guy?
I had two guys that I watched faithfully for the line. That was J.J. Watt and Julius Peppers. Love both of them.
Man.
Both of them.
And he kind of has Julius Peppers' physique.
I got PTSD as a Florida State fan from Julius Peppers, man. We don't even talk about that guy. Don't even mention that name around.
He was a dog. Even in his older age, he was a dog.
Yes.
He's a dog.
A supreme athlete. And he was one of the very few football players that actually could hoop, because a lot of football guys swear that they can hoop, and they can. They're uber athletic. Don't get me wrong. They're dunk or you do everything. Put you on the free throw line, you can't hit a free throw.
See, I played basketball through high school, and I wasn't a scoring guy, but rebounds. And if you need me to foul somebody, I'll get you some fouls. Get out of there quick.
Imagine. You used all 5 of them, didn't you?
Quick.
I can only imagine. All right, so J.J. Watt, Julius Peppers.
Mm-hmm.
Who would you take if you had to take one of those guys?
JJ.
Okay,
JJ,
so he knows. He gets it. See, Allen is an offensive line guy, and and Cliff is a defensive line. I don't
even like the block. That's the crazy part.
That absolutely made no sense.
I don't like the block.
Lineman.
Yeah, I don't.
He just wants to pull. He just wants to come around and pull. That's it.
Wing T offense is what I came up in, so I got no choice.
Listen, man, this is good stuff. Like we're gonna have Cliff on with us a lot more often than this, man. Obviously schedules permitting. But we're gonna do this because we might need some insight. We were just talking about Washington's, their defense. Durante Jones is coming. They're gonna try to change some things up, be more aggressive. I'm sure as a defensive player, you prefer to play going downhill as opposed to being on your heels.
Oh, absolutely. Because you're going downhill, that means you're attacking the ball. So you don't want guys to get on their heels and second guess themselves. So, just aggressive off the ball, every man to the ball, just violent defense.
Man, this guy, I could tell Union. He's gonna bring some stuff there, some juice there.
Speaking to my soul, man. I can't stand no backpedaling defender.
And Allen is a violent person. And I don't mean off the air, folks. I don't want you to run from him when you see him.
Right.
But I mean from a football perspective, he practices and preaches violence, and violence again. He doesn't want guys tackling guys and helping them up.
Right.
I'd be screaming about that.
Play the game with respect, but gotta know, like, that man in the other jersey, that's not your friend.
Yeah.
And the game over, maybe, depending.
No, I don't even like that. I hate guys now after the games, trading jerseys and staying on the field. I'm like, man, no, that's you know each other. You can do that in the off season with each other. I don't need that right now. So folks, we got to get ready to wrap up today's show. Cliff, seriously, like you knocked it out the park. We're going to have to do this again. anytime. We're going to have my friend in here, as you're going to see me getting bigger and bigger and bigger, you're going to know that's because of that man right there. So Cliff Fortune from Crunch Gym, make sure you sign up and get over to him if you are trying to build that body up. He's one of the best at doing that. So appreciate him coming on. Alan, as always, great job. You, my friends out there, get home safely to your family and friends, and we will see you soon right here on the Lake Lewis Jr. Show.